Hello there, everyone. My name's Ayumu, Kagami, and this is Slain. Let me turn down the volume on it a little bit. I wanted to preface the fact that this has real good music in it. So the okay, save file's gone. This may be because there was an update on it. So I am actually, the story is, it kind of takes a backseat to it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The story is you're resurrected, to fight with them. I will give it a little bit before, since I'm not sure when the most recent update is. The text auto scrolls, which is a little bit of a problem for me, especially with like the font. I like the way the font looks. It can be very difficult to hear the, I mean, like I'm trying to figure out what his name is, and without being able to properly read it, just because of the text. Like, the text isn't my problem, that's my mouse. But the text isn't the problem, it's more so that it scrolls too quickly. Especially red on red with this. Barthorn, we meet again. Said I didn't have time to read it. Did talk a little bit for it. So, you're this hardcore guy! And, you cut things up. So this is... The graphics in this game are super good. I love the graphics in this game. They look fantastic. And go back out of it. And this is... You're watching the tutorial on it. I'm not sure why my save did not work from before. That may have been an update issue. I've also gone back and forth between Windows 10 and crap like that, so that could have affected it. The jumping in the game, it's a platformer with the hack and slash elements in it. Kind of a little similar to that of Castlevania, with the atmosphere in it, and the fact that the game's pretty tough. With like right here, I'll get hit. Okay, well these guys you don't take too much damage from. You do start taking a lot more damage from enemies later on. Traps in it. Those are insta kills. Insta kill traps. So if I jump on the spikes, I am dead. Which probably works the same way if I walk in them. If I fall into this red bloody liquid or lava, dead. These right here, checkpoints and full heals. Now, I would love to see more things be improved on this game. Right here kind of brings up one of the issues I have with the game, being a fairly major issue. As I'm attacking him, I've became one with his body. And the game is fairly unforgiving, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way that the game is. My problem with its unforgiving nature is a lot of the time it does not feel like it's my fault when I die. Especially with really hard games, you want it to feel like you were in control. Versus, the controls made me die. That's health, by the way. And that's not a very good feeling. The jumping so far has seemed very, responsive. Also, jumping forces the text to go further. It's a pet peeve of mine, but not the biggest issue. I've played about 90 or so minutes of this game. I did a stream of it to show it off initially. But when it comes down to these skeletons in particular, is when some of the game's mechanics started to get to me. The stuns last a very long time on my part, versus the you know, like, sometimes even happen on the enemy parts, which is very frustrating. This is talking about the wave clear mechanic. While using it, you do take damage, which is not... I don't really like it, to be honest. Especially since it uses all your mana up immediately. And for the different levels, and different enemies, they have sort of felt varied. And here's kind of an example of, I'm just stun locking him, but if I'm not careful, I start to just keep merging with him. And this just says I don't know if this is actually an upgrade, or... Okay. With the fact that this is actually, a pet peeve of mine, I opened the chest, and it said on the hilt of the blade, it said the, Slayer. Up turns it off. It did not have any of those options. It's just gotta get my words together. When I played this before, it popped up and it's like, oh, it says Witch Slayer, and I walked off. Nothing indicated that I needed to jump to grab it. Which, this makes up for one of the other problems I had, but not by a lot. The game was a little too tough, with you just having to take, like, just an enormous amount of shots at enemies. But this makes up for it. With the fact that I do have a stronger weapon. But, you know, with it being strong against witches, is it exclusively strong against witches, or is it just more powerful? That I'm not sure. Here is another gripe. There is, no up attacks, really. And these guys, well, this time they got caught there, like, perfectly, which was not enjoyable, because I just had to, you know, dodge. So, like Castlevania, it has that the knockback thing, where once you've been hit, you take a significant move back. And I want so much for this to be good. It is currently $13 on Steam, I believe. And give a look to the game. My favorite things about it are the aesthetic of it. Freaking love the aesthetic on this. It looks gorgeous. Getting stun locked feels like a serious problem. There's not some. It's either you get stun locked or you have knockback. Which is kind of where I feel like in the middle of this game, on the fact of the stun lock sometimes doesn't feel right. Like, great, I'm getting hit, and I'm not moving back at all. Some of the power-ups, they go up too quickly, not giving me any kind of ample time to collect the power-up. I know that having it on the screen for a limited amount of time can actually make it, you know, more encouraged to grab it. But the opportunity doesn't really seem to present itself. So I haven't seen that much variety in the movement in it. and everyone seemed to have been dispatched either kind of out of sheer luck of just having my hits connect with them when they needed to be connecting with them, or that they just weren't connecting properly and I had to spam the magic attack. So I'm going to try to show you maybe about the end of the level, and then I'll call it good, because I would like to show you what the boss fights do look like. Probably was in the mist on that one. Whoop. So, for the level design, it seemed very simplistic. There isn't enough conveyed on the screen for me. Not even that I need that much. The game never tells me to push A for jump. It does have, when you open up the game initially, there is a configure the controls out for it, which is good. I know a lot of people really like to configure their controls. Personally, I'm not one of them. Whatever controls the game initially has is usually what I leave it at. Just because if I go to the controls menu, I usually forget what I changed them to. So I don't do much on updating controls, personally. But I'm glad that that's there. Lots of options for like the screen or screen size in it. And then some graphic options with the fantastic versus it just, I think it's like fantastic, normal, great, low. So typical graphical options in them. The developers have posted thank yous for the information they've been receiving, which brings me hope that this game could receive an update. I would like to see what an update could bring to the game. But when I'm coming down to like fighting him right now, I have to be so dependent on my being thrown into him because of the swing arcs. And with them not always being the same, it okay, doesn't feel as satisfying because it's not always the third swing you move forward. I've had it sometimes be different. So that's what the bosses feel like. It doesn't feel that different. Of all of the levels do kind of go with platforming than non-platforming. But they look, you know, pretty different. I've seen the graveyard so far, and then I saw this place and a forest area. Those are the different areas that I've seen so far in it. So there will be a link in the description down below for the game, to the Steam page on it. So give it a look-see, and thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that. And if you want to watch any other videos on this, hit that subscribe button. You'll post reviews on games and Let's Play content and reviews on some other things. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic night.